UFC 214 lived up to the hype on Saturday night. 3 championship fights, 2 new champions crowned, and 1 defense. Of course, in the main event, Jon Jones steals the show with a spectacular third-round knockout of Daniel Cormier to reclaim the UFC light heavyweight champion 31 months after his last encounter with Cormier. This one was even better than the first fight. Jones much more decisive, really just fought an amazing fight and ends up stopping Cormier in the third round, the first to ever do so, and really re-solidify his position as the #1 light heavyweight in the world. Just an incredible performance for Jones, coming back from such a long layoff, and for him opens up so many options going forward. Of course, there's the Brock Lesnar opportunity out there, but that right now seems off the table in terms of happening anytime soon. Brock Lesnar has a lot of things to go through before that fight could even be close to a reality. Has to go through the USADA testing, has to finish serving his suspension. So Jones very likely is going to be defending his 205 belt next. And for me, it's got to be the rematch with Alexander Gustafsson. That's the fight that we've been wanting to see for a very long time. They had an incredible first fight at UFC 165, fight of the year for that year. And really, we know what Jones has said going into that fight. He said he barely trained, was partying, doing all the things that we've known him to do. The rematch has been scheduled before, it didn't happen, and now is the time to do it. Of course, you have the likes of Volkan Ozdemir out there, but right now I just don't think he is a big enough name quite yet to really work Jones up to get into that title fight. So I think it's got to be that Gustafsson rematch. It's been years in the making, and now is the time to do it. As far as the co-main event, Tyron Woodley, unfortunately for him, another somewhat lackluster title fight, title defense #3 for him. I don't give him as much blame for how the fight unfolded. I think it was just a hard style matchup for him, and one that he had to fight the way he did. Unfortunately for him, UFC President Dana White not very high on him right now, and he's pretty much gonna have to take whatever fight the UFC offers him. It's not gonna be George St. Pierre, and from Dana White's comments, it sounds like it could be Robbie Lawler, who earned a victory over Donald Cerrone on the UFC 214 main card. Lawler, even though he's just 1 fight removed from that title fight with Woodley, lost it at UFC 201, was knocked out in the first round. We know at the very least if Lawler's in there with Woodley, it's going to be an exciting fight. And as far as Cris Cyborg, who claimed the women's featherweight title on the main card as well, she is going to have a little more difficulty finding an opponent. It's been the case of her entire career, but it sounds like Holly Holm could be the matchup for her. Holm, of course, fought for the inaugural women's featherweight belt against Jermaine Durandamy, lost, but she's got back on track since then, got a win over Bethe Correia a couple months ago, and for her, she is a perfect fight for Cyborg. Big name, I think that could be a pay-per-view headliner, a huge fight in that division, and really that's just 2 of the biggest women's stars in this entire sport right now. Holm, Cyborg would be a huge fight for women's MMA, probably one of the biggest ever.